about the deeply disturbing clips from the Ellen DeGeneres show on the new P. Diddy documentary.
How much money do you have on you right now?
I don't have any money on me.
You don't carry money on you?
No.
No.
I don't carry money. I mean, it's just money on me.
Oh, you do have money on you. Lord have mercy. It's all 20s. Where are you going after this?
You know we doing what we plan to do, girl.
I had forgotten just how chummy these two used to be. He was always on her show, and they were known to be friends. She even used to have quite the nickname for him, Cuddle Mix Snuggle Stuff. I believe there were only about 2 clips of her used during the P. Diddy docu-series on Netflix, which if you haven't watched, go watch it. But each time, my blood ran cold with knowing everything that we know about him, and now her now. And you can't tell me for 1 minute that this man was not purposeful in the clips that he used of the Ellen DeGeneres show. I don't know who on his team found them or if he had just saved them for later, but wow.
When I see those things, I never was shocked about it. I never, like, it just, I could sense a thing. If you are now telling us all these things you witnessed, then now you're not.
Ellen DeGeneres, the side of Hollywood we never saw. For years, Ellen DeGeneres was presented as one of television's safest faces. A comedian, a talk show host, a celebrity who built an entire brand around kindness. But behind that carefully polished image, former employees, artists, and public figures have described something very different. And now, as old interviews and past relationships are being examined again, one question keeps getting louder. What was really happening behind the cameras? One of the most disturbing parts of the story involves the young performers Ellen brought onto her show. Children could become internet sensations overnight. A viral performance would catch Ellen's attention, the child would appear on television, and suddenly Hollywood doors seemed to open everywhere. But critics now question whether bringing young, inexperienced performers directly into the entertainment machine was always as harmless as it appeared. And one name makes those questions even darker. Sean Diddy Combs. Diddy appeared on Ellen's show multiple times. The two were publicly friendly, and their interviews often revolved around parties, relationships, nightlife, and celebrity culture. At the time, viewers saw harmless entertainment. After the allegations against Diddy became public, however, old footage began circulating again, and some people
inspired by one of the children who she had seen on YouTube, whom she had invited onto her show, named Grayson Chance. Because she was so inspired by Grayson Chance, she started a record label that she named 1111. Grayson Chance was the first person signed to her. From the outside looking in, this looked like a match made in heaven. This boy had been scouted from YouTube and caught the attention of Ellen DeGeneres, and she started a record label just for him and was going to propel his career. But in reality, Grayson Chance would come out years later and share that in reality, his time working with Ellen was nothing less than traumatic. Grayson has described Ellen as manipulative and opportunistic. Grayson has also shared that he believed that Ellen wanted him to be her Justin Bieber. Ellen discovered Grayson on YouTube, similar how to Justin Bieber had been discovered. Grayson had the kind of Justin Bieber haircut when he was discovered. Both young male vocalists. Justin Bieber was scouted very young, just like Grayson. Ellen thought she found her cash cow when it came to Grayson Chance. She thought she was going to be the one responsible for finding and propelling the next Justin Bieber in the music industry. Grayson has said that Ellen was extremely controlling of every aspect of his career while he was working with her. Ellen did not have the experience, the knowledge, or the know-how on how to propel a child into the music industry on the same level as someone like Justin Bieber. After the release of Grayson's second album and the album underperformed, Grayson has reported that Ellen completely ghosted him. She would not answer the phone. She wouldn't reach out to him. She did not want to work with him at all. She just ghosted him. Grayson would later return to The Ellen Show in 2019, which he describes as a very awkward and staged encounter. Around the time when Grayson had decided to speak up and come forward about his experience,
People started watching those conversations very differently. Then there was Ellen's silence. Despite her longtime friendship with Diddy and his repeated appearances on the program, she did not publicly address the allegations in the way some viewers expected. But Diddy wasn't the only relationship raising questions. There was also a young singer named Grayson Chance. In 2010, Chance went viral after performing Lady Gaga's Paparazzi online. Ellen noticed. She invited him onto the show and then went much further. She created a record label called 1111, with Chance becoming its first major signing. From the outside, it looked like a Hollywood fairy tale. A young musician discovered online, a massive television star behind him, a brand new label supposedly built to launch his career. But years later, Chance described the experience very differently. He said Ellen became extremely controlling and wanted him to become the next Justin Bieber. According to Chance, she was heavily involved in his career and expected him to follow a specific path. Then his second album underperformed. And, according to his account, the relationship suddenly changed. Chance said Ellen stopped responding to him. The person who had once appeared to be personally invested in his future allegedly disappeared when the results were no longer what she wanted. Years later, Chance returned to The Ellen Show. On television, the reunion looked warm. But privately, Chance said it felt completely different. He later described the encounter as staged and claimed Ellen was presenting an image of closeness that no longer existed. One moment especially bothered him. Ellen praised Chance for coming out as gay, even though, according to Chance, they had not spoken in years. His reaction was blunt. He felt Ellen was presenting herself as part of a personal milestone she had not actually been involved in. Chance later said that he remained grateful for the opportunity Ellen gave him, but he was even more grateful for himself when everything collapsed. Because, in his view, what happened after the success disappeared showed him what the relationship had really been. And then something bigger happened. Former employees started talking. At first, there were only a few voices. Then more appeared. Former staff members described an allegedly toxic workplace environment. Some claimed they were expected to avoid eye contact with Ellen. Others described strict rules about speaking to her. There were even allegations involving employees being criticized over perfumes or colognes she disliked. Other former workers described verbal outbursts and an atmosphere that felt completely different from the cheerful personality audiences saw on television. One former Warner Brothers employee claimed he was fired after Ellen allegedly complained about an interaction in an elevator. Then came accusations of racism, discrimination, intimidation, and poor treatment. The allegations became serious enough that Warner Media investigated the workplace culture surrounding the show. And suddenly, the image of Ellen's Be Kind brand was under intense scrutiny. Because if even some of these accounts were accurate, then the smiling personality viewers saw every afternoon represented only one side of the story. And this is where the story takes another turn. DL Hughley. Hughley has spoken about his discomfort with Diddy for years and recently argued that many people now claiming they were shocked by the allegations had benefited from being around him. His argument was simple. If someone witnessed wrongdoing for years, but only spoke after the consequences arrived, where was that person before? That raises an uncomfortable question about Hollywood itself. How many people see things they know are wrong, but remain silent because speaking up could cost them money, access, or influence? Hughley's comments also fed into a much broader discussion about powerful figures exploiting people beneath them. Jaguar Wright has made similar allegations about the entertainment industry, arguing that abuse of power has existed long before Diddy became the center of public attention. These claims are controversial, and many of the broader theories surrounding Hollywood remain unproven. But the pattern people keep returning to is power. A young artist enters the industry. A powerful celebrity offers opportunity. The artist becomes dependent on that relationship. And when the relationship breaks, the person with less power may have nowhere to turn. That's why Grayson Chance's story continues to attract attention. And it's also why former employees' stories matter. Because the controversy surrounding Ellen wasn't limited to one artist. Even longtime members of her production team eventually spoke publicly. Her former DJ Tony Okungboa said he experienced what he described as a toxic environment while working on the show. He later expressed support for former colleagues who wanted a healthier and more inclusive workplace. Other staff members alleged racism, intimidation, and retaliation. Producers denied many of those accusations. But the damage to Ellen's public image had already been done. Then there were the interviews. One of the most replayed involved Taylor Swift. During an appearance on Ellen's show, Swift was pushed into a game involving men she had allegedly dated. As the segment continued, Swift appeared increasingly uncomfortable and repeatedly asked Ellen to stop. The clip was originally treated as awkward celebrity television. Years later, many viewers began asking whether the humiliation itself had become part of the entertainment. That criticism extended beyond Ellen's interviews. People also began examining her friendships. One of the most controversial was her relationship with former President George W. Bush. The two were photographed together at public events, including NFL games. For some viewers, the friendship was surprising because Bush's political record and past positions on LGBTQ+ issues appeared to conflict with Ellen's public identity. Ellen defended the friendship by arguing that people could disagree politically and still be kind to each other. Critics, however, argued that the issue wasn't about sitting beside someone with different beliefs. It was about the actions and consequences attached to those beliefs. And then came one of the darkest chapters connected to Ellen's show. Stephen Twitch Boss.Twitch became the Ellen Show's DJ after replacing Tony Okungboa. He became a beloved television personality and eventually one of the most recognizable faces associated with the program. In December 2022, Twitch died by suicide. His death shocked fans. Because from the outside, his life appeared stable. He had a family, a successful career, and a public image that seemed overwhelmingly positive. His wife and loved ones said they had not known the extent of what he may have been experiencing emotionally. His death quickly triggered online speculation about Ellen and the workplace surrounding her show. But there is an important distinction. There has been no established evidence that Ellen caused or was responsible for Twitch's death. His death was officially treated as suicide, and public speculation connecting Ellen directly to it remains unsubstantiated. Still, the timing caused people to revisit old accusations about the workplace. And that same pattern happened again with another tragedy. And Hughley. Hughley dated Ellen from 1997 to 2000. Their relationship was reportedly turbulent, and Hughley later spoke publicly about the emotional impact of their breakup. In August 2022, Hughley crashed her Mini Cooper into a Los Angeles home. The vehicle caught fire. Emergency crews struggled to reach her through the flames and smoke. She was eventually transported to a hospital, where doctors determined that she had suffered catastrophic brain injury. Days later, at just 53 years old, and Hughley died. Almost immediately, internet speculation exploded. Some theories connected her death to her past relationship with Ellen. Others pointed to her involvement with a film dealing with human trafficking and suggested far more sinister explanations. There were even online claims that her vehicle had been tampered with. But these theories remain speculation. There is no established evidence that Ellen was responsible for Hughley's death. And that distinction matters. Because once a celebrity's reputation collapses, every tragedy around them can suddenly be pulled into the same narrative. But the real story is already disturbing enough without inventing facts. A television empire built on kindness. A young artist who later described the relationship behind his success as manipulative. Former employees alleging a toxic workplace. Celebrity interviews that viewers now interpret differently. A powerful entertainment industry where people have repeatedly accused influential figures of abusing their position. And friendships that suddenly look different when viewed through everything we know today. Maybe that is why Ellen's legacy remains so complicated. The public saw the smile. They saw the dancing. They heard the message about kindness. But behind every major celebrity brand is another story. One told by employees, former partners, artists, and people who were there when the cameras stopped rolling. And perhaps the biggest question isn't whether every accusation against Ellen is true. It's this: how much of the person we thought we knew was actually the performance? Because Hollywood has always been very good at creating characters. And sometimes, the hardest part is figuring out where the character ends and the real person begins.